Good morning, everyone. Lovely to be with you today. Look forward to spending this time together. So let's just start out and check in with the body first, see how that's doing. And just whatever position may be comfortable for you. No particular position is necessary, but just something that um, you can relax in for a little while that's reasonably comfortable. And let's just do a scan first, just top down through the body. Um, just check in, feel internally how things are. If there's any areas that are being held in tension that don't need to be. If they can be relaxed gently, wonderful. If not, it's fine also, just to let them be as they are. It's always good to check in with the breath, make sure that's happening. Um, Again, we don't need to be breathing in any particular way, just whatever way is natural. The body knows how to do that well. But what we can do is notice that there's something that is aware that you're breathing, right? There's an awareness that I'm breathing. I'm noticing that I'm breathing. So we may take note of the particulars of the breath, the movement of the belly or the movement of air through our nose. But there's something that notices that we're breathing. So we don't need to think about what that is. We don't need to make a philosophy or um, try to figure out what that is from a biological standpoint. The important thing is just to notice that it's happening. Just that noticing that we're not only capable, but um, directly experiencing the fact that we're breathing. So there's the breathing, the physical sensations, and then there's something that notices that. And we don't have to even give it a name. We can just say whatever that is. The important thing is to recognize that there's something there in all of us right away without having to change or attain anything that notices that the breath is happening. Without that, you wouldn't know if you were breathing or not, right? Okay, so we're breathing and we're noticing that there's something aware of that. We're also sitting in a chair or someplace comfortable, hopefully. And there's a sensation of that. Just the sensation of being held by the chair or the cushion, how that feels on the body, just that sense of, let's say, pressure on the cushion, sense of being supported by it. And again, there's something that is aware of that sensation. Mhm. So we can notice that whatever it is that's aware of sitting on the cushion is the same awareness that was aware of the sensation of breathing. Right? In the same way we might take note of any sounds that might be present maybe in the room in the form of the heating system, or maybe there's some noise drifting in from outside. And again, there's the audio input, the sound that we hear, and there's something that's aware of sound. And again, it's the same awareness that is aware of the sound. There's that same sense of presence that's aware of the sensation of sitting on the cushion. Same sense of noticing the movements of the breath. Okay, so there's different perceptions that the body's receiving. We have the sensation of touch on the cushion, the internal sensation of the movement of the body with the breath, the audio sensation of whatever sounds you may be hearing. And something that is noticing that. Not only noticing it, but you could even say, is the space within which all of that is happening. If we forget about biology for a moment and um, let go of our insistence that um, this awareness is this side of my skin, and just allow that openness for whatever sensations may arise. And also, if we're sitting in the room, notice um, the temperature of the room on our skin, how that feels. Feels warm, humid, cool. And also notice that sensation, and also whatever it is that, however we want to call it, but something that notices that sensation. So we can look, sort of turn our attention from what is arising within that awareness, whether it's the sense of sitting, sense of the breath, and sense of the temperature in the room, whatever sounds we might be hearing. And notice that all of that is occurring within our knowing, not knowing like we know facts about it, but just knowing that it exists, right? Just a sense of knowingness, sense of being present for these particular sensations or whatever else might arise. So we can just sense into that um, availability to whatever arises. And we can note that that availability, um, in itself doesn't have any preferences, um, whether, let's say, the room is a little bit too warm or a little bit too cool or just right. Our mind may have opinions about that, but the awareness of the sensation itself is present for however that shows up. Whatever sensation arises, the awareness is present, available, open, receptive, intimate with whatever it is that arises. This awareness, this awareness that's already present before we go looking for it, is this awareness that's always present, always available, always um, there anytime we stop to notice that awareness that is present for any sensation that registers the sensation. Like if you had um, a movie theater, for example, you can have the movie being projected from the movie projector, um, and that light is emanating from the projector. But if there was no screen there, you wouldn't see anything. You wouldn't see the movie. You know, might see a few dust particles being lit up, but other than that, we wouldn't actually see the movie because there was no screen on which to receive it, you could say. And so in the same way, this awareness is that screen of awareness, so that any perception that arises is noticed, is received um, on that screen of awareness. So we can notice that sometimes our attention is more in the direction of the object, more in the direction of the sensation. And then we can also step back into just that sensation of being receptive, being open, without any effort. Just notice that it's already happening, that that awareness is already open and present. We don't have to try to make it open and present. It's what it's doing already, right? So that awareness is just available, open, spacious, whatever occurs within the room, within the body, that awareness is available to receive it, to notice it. Without judgment. The mind may be judging, right? The awareness is just what notices the mind. You may notice the mind judging it, but the awareness is where that thought stream lands. So we can begin to notice that whatever sensation may arise, it is the awareness always that recognizes it. it still has to be received by the body, right? Still has to be processed by the mind. But what registers that perception ultimately is this awareness, that which gets that the perception is present. Okay, and much like the movie screen, receiving the images of the movie, at the end of the movie, the screen is still untouched. I mean, it could be a romantic comedy, it could be a um, cops and robbers movie. The screen is untouched either way, and yet present for the entire event. So in that same way, this awareness is present, intimately present, not removed an iota from the experience, and yet it remains fresh, remains untouched. So by saying that, I don't mean it as a belief to be adopted, just that um, it's something that we can sense into. If it doesn't yet feel true to you, just put it on the back burner. That's fine. Um, the important thing is just to directly sense into this experience of being just being present, available as as this formless awareness that we all already are. We don't have to achieve it. We don't have to be worthy of it. We don't even have to be spiritual. We don't have to believe anything. We can just notice what is already the fact of the matter. It's quite scientific in that way. But we can allow ourselves just to step back into that awareness. It's not outside of ourselves. We don't have to go looking for it, hoping to find it somewhere else or attain it from something higher than what we are. Just to check in deeply that that awareness is already fully functional. It's not like partially functional. It is what we are. Uh, so it's much more important to sort of feel what we're pointing to here rather than trying to put it into some sort of conceptual context or even try to understand it. There's actually nothing to understand, but we can be that. We are that. We actually can't be other than that. So it's something that's already happening. It's something that's already fully functioning. Um, the possibility here is just to sense the reality of that, sense the immediacy of that. Not a concept. And the attempt to conceptualize it will um, cause us to miss it because it's what we are. It is what is aware of any attempt to conceptualize. So whatever experience arises, it is what notices that experience. It's not dependent on that experience. So we can allow the experience to be there and notice, yes, and there's something that notices that experience. So we can call that awareness as long as we don't make a concept out of it. Just the direct experience of what notices everything. So we'll just take a few minutes here to just step back into that awareness and just um, rest there. Allow whatever experience, whatever sensation, whatever thought, whatever feeling that arises, just allow it to be there. There's no problem. And notice that all of that is occurring within this spaciousness, within this capacity, within this knowingness. And just rest exactly there.